Welcome, y'all. Let's get into a couple of things here for the first ever live stream. Bear with me on this one. We'll see how it goes. It's got to be the first one sometime. All right. So you can see I'm already sharing some stuff here. I'm going to get into all that with you guys here right now. So appreciate y'all tuning in. For those of you who are sticking around, I did put some plays out already on YouTube on the post there for the community. So if you want to check some of that stuff out, you can. I want to run through a little bit more in depth about how I do what I do here, while giving you guys some of these picks that I made and that I have in mind for today as well. So first thing I'm going to show you here is just what I'm looking at on my screen, right? So I'm going to get this stuff out of here and get into it with you. But you see, I already got the injury report up. All this stuff is in the description of all these videos I put out as well, so you can see exactly how I'm finding what I find. But this is literally just the official.nba.com injury report here. Link is in the description, so make sure you check that out. It's the thing that you can trust the most, right? Out of all this stuff here is actually like who is in and who is out according to the NBA. So a lot of the stuff that you get here, you can also find a little bit more quickly if you're following along on Twitter, Underdog Fantasy NBA Injury Report, and a couple other spots. But I also have a Twitter list up if you want that, with all of the beat writers that I follow for each of these teams, so you can check out what they're putting up every day. They're the ones closest to this, getting that news pretty much faster than anybody when they're either at shoot around, like most of them are right now in a lot of places, or earlier, or obviously if they're talking to coaches and players and staff as well. Those dudes have access to like all the the trainers and stuff like that. So we want to know what's going on there. A couple of the bets that I put out, let me get into them so I can just like sort of show you how I got to what I got to, right? And the first one I'm gonna look at here is in this Charlotte and Detroit game, and it's gonna be around Cade Cunningham. So this right here is props.cash. Hopefully you are using that. It's something that I pumped out to you guys a bunch, as it's really, really incredibly helpful when it comes to looking at not only obviously recent numbers, but that's not only what I care about. I really care about also things like volume and like minutes and other things of that nature, right? So first thing I'm looking at with Cade is like, obviously I already know dude's playing all the time. He's at like we got 32 and a half minutes over his last 10. And you got a couple of little like anomalies in there where he played 26 minutes or 23 minutes. And I'm not really caring about those. In fact, I'm using the other metrics here where it's really like closer to about 34 minutes that I expect him to play in a game where he doesn't have foul trouble or they're not getting blown out, right? And they're not going to be getting blown out in this one against Charlotte. They actually probably will win this game. They're favored anyway. I haven't put a bet on them, but the thing I'm looking at with Cade here is assists. And I got right into it looking at the 8.5, and that just stood out to me as a little bit high at first, right? So a couple of things that then I want to know for Cade right off bat is like, how does he do, and his type of player, how do they perform against this Charlotte defense? And yes, this Charlotte defense, by the way, I happen to know has been pretty good as of late as well. The things I'm not showing you here, I have a couple of models that I share with a couple other guys, and I don't necessarily have the right to just show you their IP as well. So I'm not showing you the direct models that I use, because the models that I have are just basically spreadsheets that go ahead and help me by having like color-coded aspects to things, right? So if I see some stuff stand out because Cade has, or for instance, for Charlotte, right? I happen to know they've been playing better on defense because my model just pulls through some information and tells me that. But one of the things I wanted to see with Cade, like I said, this is Courtside Pal, courtsidepal.com. Also something that is going to be in the description of all these videos. So make sure that you check those out because you want to make sure that you have the exact link right here. So the first thing I'm doing is typing in Cade's name to get him to come up here on the board, right? All right. So there's a couple things that Courtside Pal is really good at. And the first one is, and most importantly for me, is team ranks versus player type, right? But let me give you a little bit of insight into how it works as well, because the reason that Courtside Pal is awesome and better than things like this FanDuel Fantasy Pros one that I have right here. Look, this is useful. I'm not going to totally track FanDuel defense versus position. I just don't always agree with the way that they have guys listed in terms of their actual position, right? So like, for instance, like if you look at props.cash, right? And this is going to be pretty common. They're pulling information from places like FanDuel Fantasy Pros. They're pulling information from NBAstats.com, like you see here, just a regular stats page. They're pulling from all these places, but places like Fantasy Pros and other spots, they're going to have certain guys listed in a way that I don't agree with. And a great example here is actually, Oster might not have his props. Oh yeah, Oster has his props. Look, Oster Thompson is listed as a shooting guard. Love Oster Thompson. Awesome rookie. not a shooting guard. If you look at his numbers, I think he's shooting like 31% from deep, maybe even worse than that. His effective field goal percentage is down in the like mid to low 40s. So it's not like he's a shooter and a dude that you rely on as shooting, but because of his size and the other dudes that are on the court for Detroit, they just throw him in there as a shooting guard. So that's why I like this. Going back to my courtside pal love, they don't really care about exactly what you're listed as. They care about your height, your weight, your mass, where you shoot from on the floor, where you score from on the floor, your playmaking, where do you make your passes from, how often are you passing, and your rebounding, right? Like, where are you on the floor when you get a rebound? Are you getting long rebounds? Are you close to the basket? So it's taking into consideration a lot more intricate stuff than just what your position is listed as. Like, I don't really care about that as much. So let's go down to the team ranks versus player type using Cade as our example here, right? So I want to know about Cade assists, and I want to know how good Charlotte is at stopping someone like Cade from getting dimes, right? So I'm going to go and click on assists here. And what I'm worried about is playmaking, right? That playmaking is going to be exactly what is tailored to assists a lot more than anything else, right? Playmaking, he's considered a playmaker number 9 according to how they have this listed out, right? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. However, Courtside Pal lists you. That's based on their metrics. Like I said, they're a lot more intricate based on where are you making passes from, how often are you passing it, etc. I'll get into a little bit more of that in one sec. For Cade, you can see when it comes to his type of playmaker, it's actually Charlotte is actually better than you might think. They are the 4th best team at limiting assists to someone like Cade, right? And if it's green, that means you're probably going to want to hit some Cade overs. If it's red, that means they're better at defending it, so you're going to want to hit some Cade unders, right? So we've got 27th for Charlotte in terms of how basically they're 4th best. This is relative to Cade, right? Cade is going to be really successful getting assists against Utah, Toronto, Atlanta, Washington, Sac, etc. He's going to be very unsuccessful, more likely than not, going up against Indy, Brooklyn, Golden State, Charlotte. These teams have been a lot better at limiting playmakers like Cade from getting dimes. That doesn't just mean they're good at limiting point guards. Let's actually look at the comparison. If you go to point guards on the season and you look at this does not match up right away, right? Like, point guards have the most, according to Fantasy Pros, struggle to get assists against Chicago, New York, Toronto, Minnesota, Philly, etc. Those are not the teams that you see at the top of the list here because, like I said, last point, they don't care on Courtside Pal about what you're listed as on other websites in terms of point guard, shooting guard, what have you. They're worried about where you actually get your dimes from, where you make your passes from. All right, so we've established that Charlotte is very good at limiting point guards' assists. In fact, we can even see here they're better than you might think at limiting point guard assists. Well, actually, they're not. In terms of point guard assists in general, they're actually not good at limiting it. So this is why I would actually rather trust Courtside Pal than I would Fantasy Pros, because I don't always agree with their way that they have everybody listed. So you can see Charlotte is actually giving up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th most assists to point guards. Now, I will say you can also toggle this Fantasy Pro so that you can see more recent stats. This is currently on 2023. Let's look at the last 7 overall. And I think we're going to see a little bit better numbers for Charlotte than we might have otherwise seen, right? So now they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th best at limiting assists to point guards over their last 7 games. That's relevant because they had those trades, right, where they got rid of PJ Washington, they brought in Grant Williams, they brought in Trey Mann and Micic as well at point guard. So they're going to be a little bit better than they were at limiting point guard assists. And we already know that Courtside Pal told us they're 4th best in limiting to his type of playmaker. All right, so the next thing I want to see is, like, what's the volume for Cade in his potential assists? I want to know how often is it that he is able to even get himself into position to get some assists. So this is where, once again, I have a model that's pulling through all these stats from NBA.com stats page and a couple other spots, and it's telling me, you know, what is relevant on my actual model. But I also just, for the sake of showing you guys, because once again, can't show you that model, I got to keep it to this stuff right here, which is going to be the same concept though, because it's just pulling the information that I'm using on my model. All right, so I'm going to change NBAstats.com, right? It's very simple. Once again, just go to the videos that I put out in the description. You're going to find all the links to what I'm talking about here. But for Cade and his individual stats, I want to go to players first, right? I got to change this filter from teams to players. Now, if you want to look at, just to take you quickly through it, this is going to be your sort of high level core kind of stats. You can get traditional stats, which is just going to be those raw numbers. How many rebounds does this dude get? How many assists does he get, etc. You can get advanced numbers. What are their rating? A rating is going to assume that everybody's playing 100 possessions, and in 100 possessions, how well do they do? So it's a little bit different than raw stats. But what I want to know is, how is he at passing? And this is where the NBA has gotten very, very good, which is tracking data, right? Player tracking data is literally based on them having a ton of cameras that they put up all over the place on all these floors. And now they're able to like track dudes a little bit more clearly using computers. That's as deep as I'm gonna get into it. But you can even see here, player tracking is not available for all games because sometimes they don't have the tech set up on the court that certain teams are playing on that night, or there's nobody who's actually tracking that stuff live. So if that's the case, you're kind of SOL. But for the most part, you're gonna be able to get almost every game in terms of player data and tracking data. And this is literally tracking what they're doing the whole time they're on the floor. How often are they driving to the basket? What is their defensive impact, actually, more so than just a defensive or offensive rating, right? An individual offensive rating is literally just going to be his on-off numbers. When dude is on the court, what's the team's offensive rating? When dude is off the court, what's the team, right? That's not the same as what's his actual defensive impact. I'm going to go down to passing though, right? You can get rebounding, you can get passing, you can get specific types of rebounding, shooting efficiency. You can see where they are on the floor, how fast they move. Like this is literally like they have computers almost on their bodies that are now giving data to these dudes on NBA stats, right? So I want to go to passing because I want to know about potential assists. You guys hear me talk about that all the time, right? But right now I have every single player listed here in terms of passing. So I got to dumb that down to going to advanced filters right here, going to all teams, and I'm going to go to these Detroit Pistons, right? So I need to filter it for the Pistons. All right, this is going to be all the Pistons players passing data for the whole season. You can see I even have guys not on the Pistons anymore, like Bogey and Alec Burks, Gallinari. They're on different teams now. But I'm going to dumb this down once again a little bit further. I'm going to just take the last 8 games since they came back from the All-Star break, right? So in the last 8 games for Cade, I want to know what his potential assists at. All right, 13.4 potential assists. In fact, you know what? Hold up. Let me actually do this a little bit differently. When I'm looking at Cade's numbers here, okay, they actually played 8 games, 9 games. My bad. They played 9 games. I thought I was messing something up. They played 9 games since the start of the All-Star, or since the All-Star break ended. So let me do this for the last 9, not just the last 8. All right. Now we're looking at exactly how everyone's done here since they came back from the break. This number is at 12.8 for Cade Cunningham. All right, potential assist means you made a pass, and now a dude either took a shot, took one dribble and a shot. It's the opportunity for an assist, right? Now, weirdly, sometimes you're going to see potential assists higher or lower than actual assists. And you're like, how does that happen? How can you get an assist without being a potential assist? Scorekeepers are going to be scorekeeping for the home team, right? The dude or woman who's sitting in the scorekeeper seat is going to be the person who's probably, for instance, in Detroit, they're going to be a Pistons fan, or they're going to at least work for the Pistons in some way, from Detroit, live in Detroit, whatever, right? And so sometimes you're going to get dudes who are going to put down an actual assist for a guy, when maybe it shouldn't have been, maybe it should, whatever, but the NBA didn't count it as a potential assist because once you pass the ball, if they do anything other than shoot, take one dribble and shoot, or what have you, then you're going to be looking at not a potential assist. But for Cade, we're at 12.8, and he's averaging 7.6, right? Obviously, you like the fact that the 7.6 is lower than the 8.5 that he needs to get. He needs to get 9 if you want to go over. But just as importantly, 7.6 assists on 12.8 potential assists, right? That's like, what, 75%? What is that? Let me just double check. 7.6 divided by 12.8. And we got 60%, right? 59.5% basically of the time he's getting assists off potential assists. That's not great, right? I mean, that's really good. That what that's not great for is the idea that he's going to continue to do that, right? Because that's too high, right? I'm looking at like 55%, maybe 50% of your potential assists turning into assists. And that's like on the high side. 55% is right where I cap it as like what you would expect. If you're getting 55% of your potential assists are turning into assists. That's about the ceiling of what I would expect for most guys. If he's at 60%, that's a little bit above his pay grade. That means more likely than not, that's going to regress back down to the mean, to the average. Even if he gets the 12.8 potential assists tonight, or 13, whatever, potential assists tonight, the idea that turns into 8 or to 9 assists would mean he basically needs to get an assist on 75% of the potential assists that he would put out there. That's not likely. That's very unlikely. So we want to bet against that, right? And so now we're starting to build a legitimate case for why Cade's 8.5 assists are a good under. I hope that was enough to get you into that sort of starting point. A couple other things you want to look at. If a dude has a really good potential assist, or you're looking at his assists, how is his team shooting in general, right? I want to know, like, how have they been doing of late? So let's go to advanced stats here for the teams as a whole, because I want to see how Detroit's been shooting the ball as a whole, right? And I'm going to look at the last 9 games once again, because I just like at least having like a benchmark of the All-Star break was 9 games ago. This team has been the current iteration of itself for 9 games. So let me see how they're doing here in the last 9. I'm going to go over to effective field goal percentage, because this is what I care about when it comes to assists. Effective field goal percentage and true shooting percentage are slightly different. True shooting percentage takes into account free throw shooting. Problem is, you can't get an assist, right, with free throws. You can only, like, if you pass to somebody, they get fouled and don't make the bucket, then we're talking about them getting, now they're you lost your ability to get the assist, right? All right, cool. So with all that in mind, let's look at, I got some funny comments in here. I saw Jay next say brain equals melted. Appreciate that. I think that's a compliment. So we're looking at true effective field goal percentage, because we want to know, did dude, effective field goal percentage only takes into account 2-point percentage and 3-point percentage. It does not take into account free throws. And free throws, as we just mentioned, don't help us get assists, right? So we don't care about the true shooting percentage, which takes into consideration free throw percentage. How has Detroit shot in their last 9 games? Not good, I'm going to imagine, right? All right, 19th in terms of effective field goal percentage. In their last 5, it's actually worse. I happen to know because, once again, I have a model that just spits this stuff out at me. I'm pretty sure they're 27th over their last 5. Over their last 9, right, they're slightly better at about 19th, but it's not good. We know that they're not a good shooting team, and we know that they're not an efficient shooting team. So we can feel good about we can fade Cade's assists, right? All right, next bet that I have up for you, and I wish I had my graphics, because then they'd be coming up and you'd be seeing exactly what I'm talking about. And that's what I pride myself on, is showing you what I also see. Appreciate you, Jay Neck. But yeah, let's finish up a couple other bets that I have for you, showing you how I got to what I got to. Let me pull up one more thing here, because I had my notes. I don't want you all to see that though. Let me get my notes up so I have my exact bets here in front of me. I think the next one I'm going to go to is, I need this to pull up. I'm also not on my normal computer, which is why this is taking motherfucking forever. Hopefully we got some good music at least going. Let me get back to the music real quick, because obviously we don't want that to suck. Get this Like a Boss in here. All right, this track's called Like a Boss. Let's see what we're looking at here. We are looking at, pull my notes back up. We are looking at, nope. Come on, man. Do better, Lander. Taking it sweet, sweet time. God, this backup computer is never as good as the first computer, is it? All right, let me look here. Let's get into some of this DeMar DeRozan stuff real quick. All right, DeMar, I'm going to go back to this injury report, because now we're talking about Chicago and the Mavs, right? And we got everybody playing for the Mavs, but we don't, pretty much everybody we know about playing, right? Like Torrey Craig's in. Everybody else that we know here is out for the season pretty much. We got Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball not coming back. Although Lonzo might come back for the playoffs if Chicago makes that, is what I hear. That would be fire. But Patrick Williams also out, so we know what we're dealing with now when it comes to the Chicago game. Let's look at DeMar DeRozan's assist prop here. And look, this is, I just went right to it. I got the DeMar stuff, right? The point of a model, once again, is because the color-coded aspects of my model show me, this dude has been doing well in this category as of late. And projections now mean, because of the volume of how much he's playing, how many assists that he's potentially getting and passes he's making, we might be able to get some advantage there, right? That's what the green that stands out in my model shows me, so I can catch my eye and not waste time having to search through everything, go like, well, I don't know, does this sound right? I have to look up every player's stats, but I am able to just take you right to DeMar. He's actually gone up, which I knew was going to happen, which is why I tried to get that bet out to you ASAP earlier today. Hopefully y'all got it at 4.5 like I did. Now we're at 5.5. And now I'm kind of like, meh, I don't know. I think there might be another bet that actually works here, which is an under for Coby White, and he's now at 5.5. He was at 6.5 assists under a minute ago. But let's start with courtside pal for DeMar right here, right? And look at like how has Dallas defended somebody like DeMar DeRozan from getting assists. All right, playmaker for DeMar. Let's look at him real quick. Go to DeMar. All right. Pulling up DDR. If you ever see me say DDR, that's what I'm talking about. DeMar, we're going to go right down to the assists and playmaker stuff right here. All right, 7th most that Dallas is giving up to somebody like DeMar DeRozan, playmaker 6. You can see, remember Cade was playmaker 9, right? Playmaker 6 is a little bit different for DeMar. He's going to be playing, honestly, he's playing in similar spots on the floor as Cade, but he also plays a little closer to the baseline. I think that's going to be a big part of what's different for him. He's getting assists probably out of the with his back to the basket, right? Because he actually plays with his back to basket a good amount for someone his size. One of the last dudes to sort of play like Kobe in that sense. But so we're talking about Dallas, or we already know that they're pretty bad here, giving up assists to somebody like DeMar. Now I'm gonna run over to the Fantasy Pros and see how that relates to it. He is a small forward. I'll give him that. You could list him as shooting guard at times, but I think he plays close enough to the basket that you'll consider him a little bit more of a small forward. Also a pretty good rebounder. I'm looking at the last 7 here, and I'm looking at assists, and it looks like Dallas is giving up a ton, right, to small forwards in the last 7 games. Once again, last 7 is going to be a little bit more true to what Dallas is than the whole season because of the fact that they made some trades. We don't have Grant Williams in there anymore. We got PJ Washington in there. We got Daniel Gafford in there as well for them, and a couple of guys that are off the squad now for them as well. So that's why we like this last 7 here where Dallas has given up a ton of them. So now you know what we're going to do next. We're going to go look at how DeMar and what's going on with these Bulls and the potential assists. Like who are the people that are actually making these plays and getting things a little bit more up-tempo, making the playmaking plays for this Chicago team. So we're going to go to tracking. We're going to go to passing. And we're going to do this for DeMar. Let me take a look here at how I want to break this up for him. So you can see he's going under, over, whatever. That's why the 4.5 was kind of key for us, because 5 assists is much more likely for him at this point than the 4.5. If you took a bet where you took DeMar and you're like 4+ assists for DeMar DeRozan and you added it to a parlay of some kind, that makes sense to me too, right? Because he's gotten at least 4 in all of the last 10 games. So let's look at the last 10. Let's see how many potential assists is he getting on these last 10 games. So we're going to filter this out to Chicago and do this for the last 10. And we're going to get stats. One thing I know I'm going to like here is that Coby White is probably overvalued. Now, he was at 6.5 assists as early as like an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. My guy, Prop Beaver, if you do follow along with the Kyle Kerm show on YouTube, I'm on there pretty consistently. Prop Beaver was one that pointed out that Coby White's assists were way too high, right? So I do like the fact that Coby is at 9.2, and we can still get him under 6 assists. I kind of like that. And we're getting hella good value because of the fact that it was 6.5 and dropped down. So now we get plus 122 over here on FanDuel. You can see right here at the bottom, this is where you see the actual numbers. So the minus 150 is for the over, the plus 122 is for the under, and that's still really good for Coby White. Let's look at DeMar, right? DeMar's at 11.2 potential assists. It's not just the fact that he's got the most potential assists on the team. It's the fact that he is the dude now without a true point guard on this squad. He's the dude. Caruso is not a point guard, by the way. Now, he's got decent numbers when it comes to potential assists. Both he and Vooch, pretty nice for themselves. But I wouldn't consider taking, let's see what Caruso's assist prop is at real quick. 3.5. So he needs 4 assists on what's been an average of 5.4 potential assists. I've already told you, right? Like 55 to 60% is the peak of what you want, what you consider reasonable in terms of a dude turning potential assists into assists. So that seems a little bit high for Caruso as well. I would lean towards unders there for them as well. Only thing is you got to take into consideration the opponent. We can't just be like, oh, okay, well, let's see who, how they do normally. No, we want to know not only how the team that they're playing does, limiting them. We also want to know how the player who they're going to be guarded by does. Let's talk about that in one sec. But let's look at like Caruso, for instance. Let me just take a look at him, because before I just start slamming under assists for Caruso, I want to know, because of the fact that he hasn't had enough potential assists to make me feel like he's worth betting an over on. I want to see how his type of player does in terms of these assists that he gets against Dallas. He's still like a small dude that's going to be getting some decent assists. So like they are 8th worst is Dallas, as you can see here, at defending. I don't want to click on that. At defending assists from a playmaker like Caruso. I just don't. Yeah, I don't. There's nothing there for me to necessarily feel great about it because of the fact that Dallas isn't that great. But I will say like that does seem high for a dude who. What's his assist been at? So when you look at Caruso here, he's gotten 4 assists. What we got here 4 times out of the last 10. And once again, I mean, honestly, it's been a little bit better since the break, right? We were talking about 4 out of 8. So 50%, not terrible. And even in the last 5, it looks like he's been diming up a bit more. Let's actually dumb this down from to the last 5 games and see what we got here. Oops, my bad. We got for Caruso, might be a little bit better, if you're being honest. No, still the same crap. In the last 5.8 potential assists. Yeah, I mean, to get 4, that's about what he's at. That's a lot, bro. Like 6 to 4, basically. Still a lot for me, but we're still focused on DeMar here. One more thing I want to show you before, and I already bet the DeMar over 4.5. If you want to take the over 5.5, I get it. I'm starting to feel a little bit better about going on a Kobe White under 5.5 assists before I start taking a DeMar over 5.5 assists, to be honest with you. I do see points coming in this game as both these teams have been playing pretty fast, especially Chicago of late have been playing real fast compared to how they normally do. But one more thing I want to show you here is how you can look at individual matchups. We mentioned that team matchups are super important, but I want to know, like, also who is actually guarding this dude on the floor, right? It's not 5 dudes guarding one normally, unless you're like KD or Steph, right? Like it's who's your matchup. And so the way we can find that out, I'm going to actually make this a little easier. Let me go to NBA stats again. I'm going to click on I'm going to get to the game log and the box score from the last time that we saw these two teams play, Chicago and Dallas, and see what I can gain from that. So let me go to Dallas real quick. Once I get to Dallas, I'm going to go to the box score. So I'm going to change team stats at the top here and go to advanced box scores. And I just want to find the Chicago box score, right? Rather than go searching through all these as soon as they pop up. Now you're going to see every box score for this season for them. I'm also not positive they played yet this season, but instead of just going and searching down here and being like, where's Chicago at? Let me just filter this again and go versus all teams. Instead of versus all teams, I'm going to go versus, I already have big pass, thank you. I'm going to go versus Chicago. They did play this season. All right, let's see how accurate this box score is. And I can actually look at individual matchups and see who was guarding DeMar DeRozan last game. Let me also jump at these comments real quick. I don't want to leave y'all hanging in case people have questions, because if you do have questions, I want to answer them. That's the whole freaking point of this shit. And of course, like I said, I can't be running too many programs on this crap ass computer. Fuck that computer that's broken. Where are my comments at? Let's pull that up. All right. Well, as the comments take 3.5 years to load, at least this is up. I'm going to go to box score here from the last time that these two teams played. And I want to go to, hell yeah. Okay, so once again, I needed tracking data to be available for this game. Sometimes you're going to go into a game box score, you're going to go to matchups, or you're going to go here to change it to matchups, and you're not going to see shit. And that's going to suck, because that means that they did not have player tracking for that game, which is a pain in the ass. They're getting better at it. But all right, so we want to see who guarded DeMar. So I'm going to go, you can see here, you can toggle between offensive player, defensive player, right? I'm going to go to offensive player, and I'm going to go to DeMar DeRozan. Let's see who guarded DeMar directly for the most amount of time. Grant Williams. That was a gift, probably at the time, for DeMar being like, you're putting this dude on me? Sounds good. Yeah, you can see that in the 5 minutes that he was guarding DeMar on the floor as the primary defender, which means DeMar was on offense for that 5 minutes. This is not just the whole game, right? Like when DeMar goes on defense, Grant Williams isn't considered guarding him anymore. It's only for the moments in time that Grant Williams is the primary defender on him. When that happened, DeMar actually did not have any assists. How many did he have in that game? I'm going to just do it this way by going back here to my props.cash, go to DeMar DeRozan, and then actually go to versus head-to-head right here, right? So we can actually see he had 7 last time. Well, who did he get those on, right? 7 dimes, but the primary defender on him was Grant Williams, who kept him from getting assists. It was when Josh Green got put on him as the primary, probably through a switch. Even Luka and Derek Lively, he took Derek Jones. Those are the dudes he got his assists off of, right? You can see that Dwight Powell in there as well. So Grant Williams actually, mea culpa a little bit. I should have apologized to Grant a little bit. He did a pretty good job guarding him in terms of limiting assists. He still got the 2 for 4. The team did pretty well in terms of the points. Not awesome, but in 5 minutes, let's say that's what, like, let's give that, 2 every minute. Like, let's say that's about 15 possessions. Team getting 17 points probably means they scored about half the time that Grant Williams was guarding him. Whatever. Let's at least focus on those assists. This is actually good news because guess who's not on that team anymore? Grant Williams. So we actually don't know who's going to be the primary defender in this one on DeMar. I would not bank on it being PJ Washington as the dude who just came in for Grant Williams. If anything, man, you're probably looking at some more Derek Jones Jr. In this one, as long as he's not hurt. We already checked the injury report. He's a dude who's always on there, so I just want to double check once more. But yeah, I mean, they're healthy, so they're going to have their full slate of guys. I would imagine that you're seeing a dude like Derek Jones Jr. God love us if we get Josh Green guarding DeMar DeRozan again for those assists, right? But this is really helpful because I want to know who is actually guarding him. DJJ, former dunk contest, I believe snub. I'm not sure if he won those or got snubbed. I think he won. He was the one that snubbed Aaron Gordon. But more importantly, for how he's limiting assists, yeah, all right, he's pretty good at it. Only gave up 1 assist, but that was in 2.5 minutes of guarding DeMar. So I still think there's some opportunity there. I don't think, we can't. So I want to actually just look at one more thing, which is, and I already hit this over, but this is all stuff that I think is super valuable. One more thing I want to see here is for the Bulls versus the Dallas Mavericks, right? And I don't need the last 5 games. So I'm looking at Chicago versus Dallas. This is the only good way for me to see how many potential assists DeMar had against the Mavericks, rather than just worrying about how many potential assists he gets all the time, right? So now we've got that one game, and in that game, he had 14 potential assists. And what I love about this game is that Zach LaVine was playing in it, and now he's not. And we know that without Zach LaVine, we're probably going to get some better numbers. Let me show you one more thing. This is what I would do next. StatMuse. This is really good for me when I want to see with and without numbers. So I'm going to go DeMar DeRozan stats this season with and without Zach LaVine, right? Because that's the biggest thing here that's changed for us. Let me fix this chair. What's changed for us to be able to see how things are different is Zach LaVine isn't playing on this team anymore because he's hurt, and who knows where he'll be next season. So with Zach LaVine, we're talking about 4.7 assists in 24 games for this dude, right? Without Zach LaVine, we're talking about 5.8 assists, right? It gets a lot better for him when Zach LaVine is not in there. So all these things lead us to be like, yo, I like it. I know I'm going to get 34, 35 minutes from DeMar in what's going to be a close game most likely. I know that I'm going to get DeMar with the ball in his hands a lot. And I know that he's going to keep being the dude that gets potential assists. Like, you'd love to see this number against Dallas for him, a team that gives up a ton of assists anyway. And that's one more thing I want to know is how does Dallas do as a team giving up assists? And then I promise we'll move on to one more thing and we can get out of here since I've kept y'all here for about 32 minutes now. Hopefully you're at least getting something out of it. I can't tell because I can't. Yeah, all right. All right, let me see if I can get some questions here too. The only other thing I was going to say is how has Dallas been doing defending against assists? So I'm going to change traditional to opponent. I want to see how the opponents have been doing against Dallas. Once again, we're going to do the last, 9 games since the All-Star break for Big D. Opponent assists. I bet you this is 30th. 29th. Yeah, they're doo-doo, right? In their last 9 games, second to last to only the Utah Jazz, who are just giving up, have already given up on the season. 30.8 assists that they're allowing. So there's going to be dimes coming. I still feel good about that for DeMar here at 5.5 if you want to take it. Like I said, I also like a little bit of that under there for Mr. Kobe White, as you can see for the player passing that I showed you a minute ago, right? He's been doing a little bit worse. All right, let's see how we're doing here. Chronic Clay likes over 21.5. Courtside Pal is the best. Let's see. Duren's rebounds. This is a good question here. Let's see. They wanted to know about what do we think about Duren's rebounds. All right, so let's break that down real quick. Let's go over back to that Charlotte and Detroit game where I was talking about Cade. I do want to talk about that for a sec because my boy Nate on a different show that I have with thelines.com likes some overs for my man here, right? And I think the things you're looking at, and I'm assuming why Dave is asking me, is let's actually just start by going to team's opponent, right? And let's look at the last 9 games since the break, and we'll look at that for Charlotte, and we'll say, how has Charlotte been doing at limiting teams' rebounds? Well, they're nowhere to be found in the top half of the league, and I bet you I could just go to the bottom half and find Charlotte third most, right? Tied with Washington for third most rebounds that they're giving up to their opponents. So, yeah, that's a good starting point, right? Let's go over to and we also know, because it's been all season, let's just do this real simply. Charlotte, in terms of when we're talking about centers, are they giving up a lot of rebounds? They've been a little bit better in the last 7 to the center position specifically. I would venture to guess that this app is not good. Wow, they've been third best at limiting centers rebounds in the last 7 games. All right, let me take a quick pause. Let's go over back to props.cash, because that is confusing the absolute shit out of me. So what we want to do here is a very valuable little tool on props.cash. This is not a free website, by the way. I don't always pump them up because you do have to pay for props.cash. But I will say, like, center rebounds. We can see this is basically historical, right? So that's what they consider this category here, is historical versus, right? Historical versus. So rebounds versus Charlotte here, as of late, centers. And this is what I'm talking about, y'all. Like, okay, we've got some centers on here. All right, these are all centers. That's fine. I would even Moritz Wagner will consider a center. Nick Claxton for sure a center. Wendell Carter Jr., bro. I mean, like, I know he's listed at center. It's not even just the fact that he's not that big. It's also the fact that he's standing on the freaking 3-point line hella. But more importantly, on defense, he does play center. He guards the other team's center. So we can see how centers have recently done in terms of getting boards versus Charlotte. Pretty well. I mean, I'm looking at the starters here. We know Nick Claxton's the starter and Day'Ron is the backup. Same for Wendell and Moritz Wagner. And then Jakob Poeltl is the only center on that team, which is also fair. So that makes sense. So they limited Jakob Poeltl and they limited Brook Lopez. Those dudes aren't there even. Like Poeltl, who even knows how many minutes he got in that game? I know he recently got hurt and hasn't played for a long time. So, like, I'm not even going to look more deeply into that. But I know Brook Lopez is like, look, when you have a rebound line at 5.5, it's hard for me to call you, like, he is a center. I get it. He plays center down low on defense, but he's down there to shot block, right? He's down there to protect the rim much more than he is to rebound. That's why, and plus he's got Giannis Antetokounmpo on his team, who is a top 5 rebounder in the league. Say what you want. DeAndre Ayton got 19 boards. That's a true center. Kevon Looney probably didn't get very many minutes. He's only got a 4.5 center prop. Walker Kessler has been garbage this year. I don't know what a sophomore slump for that dude. As Utah continues to suck defending the rim, getting rebounds, etc. So, like, I ain't worried about him either. I'm basically trying to say I'm not putting that much stock in the way that Charlotte has been good at defending centers rebounds as of late. So I get it. Like, I get the Duren rebounds prop here for sure. What I want to know is his rebound chances. This is good. This gives me a chance to show you that. But let me start by going into my homie courtside pal here and talk about Duren for any of those that like some old school music. Jaylen D, who got recently ejected after that little scuffle that he had with, I forget the team now, but maybe he's coming back with a vengeance. Actually, I know what the team is. Let me look at it right here because I have that in my notes for Jaylen Duren, and I do think he's a good bet tonight for those of you paying attention. Of course, I got to open up another doc, which is going to take me 9 hours. So let me just keep moving along here. How is Charlotte at defending, limiting rebounds to a guy like Jaylen Duren? And unfortunately, the only thing for courtside pal that I haven't figured out how to get next to yet is tweaking this so that it is for a specific amount of games, right? Like, how has Charlotte done as of late defending center rebounds? I can't get that on Courtside Pal. That's a part of the reason that I still go back over here to FanDuel Fantasy Pros, because I can, dumb this stuff down between last 15, last 30, etc. But we do see they're 10th worst, right? Because when it's green, that means we want to take the players over. So not great, right? They've given up a good amount of rebounds to Duren. I think the other important thing we want to see here, we talked about the amount of rebounds that they're giving up. Why are they giving up so many rebounds? In part because they probably suck at shooting. Let's look at the Charlotte Hornets, their aptitude, if you will, their efficiency on offense. I'm going to go to advanced over here so I can see those numbers per 100 possessions. I'm going to dumb this down to the last 9. I think that's the last time. Let me just double check this. Let me go Hornets last 10 game log. And I think we're going to see 9 games since the break. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, okay, they played 10. Wow. All right, 10 games since the break. So let's do last 10 on advanced stats for them so we can see how efficient they are on offense. If they're missing hella shots, we feel pretty good. And I can go to true shooting percentage here because this takes into account free throws. If you miss a free throw, you can get a rebound off of it. So it's not the same as the assist that I was talking about a minute ago. So we talk about true shooting percentage over the last 10. Yeah, Charlotte's offense is anemic, right? And shout out Trey Mann and Micic for making it a little bit better, I guess, but it's still bad. And that's a big reason for all the missed shots and all the available rebounds for other teams. You look at rebound percentage, how many percent, what percentage of the rebounds that are available to them are they getting? Dead last, not good. So there's a lot of boards available for a man who gets a lot of boards in Jaylen Duren and is just like all shoulders and chest. That dude is massive. So let's actually look at Detroit's potential rebounds. So I'm actually going to go right once again. We're in player tracking and we're going to rebounding. All right. Got to dumb this down to just the Los Pistons. And we can see get stats. All right. This is no, I didn't do the last 10 yet. Let me get back to the last 10. Again, the last 10 is not just because I want to know what happened recently and I can say, oh, that's automatically going to happen again. No, it's also the fact that like in the last 10 games, we haven't had the same dudes that were on the team, right? They got rid of a number of guys, like we said, so it's a little bit different now. Rebound chances. That's a lot of rebound chances for Mr. Duren. 17. He's only pulled down 11 of them, right? And so we got this number at 12 and a half. What do we do with that? What do we think is going to be the outcome here? Let's see what kind of minutes he's been playing. When Duren is in there over his, this is head-to-head, so my bad. He has done well against his team head-to-head normally. Yeah, he's gone over this 3 times, right? However, this season, he's only done it once, and early in the season. His last game on the 24th, I'd want to dig into that a little bit more before I felt comfortable. Why did he only get 8 in this game against them last time? Let's do a quick search of Hornets versus Pistons this season. This is another fast way on StatMuse. I love to be able to get 2 things a little bit more quickly, right? Like I want to know the game log between these 2 teams. It takes hella time to go, all right, let me go to the advanced box scores. Let me get into the box, blah, 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 especially when you have your backup computer that was broken. All right, looking at this game log here. This is the game where on the 24th, Duren did not have very many boards. They won that game 113-106. I'm not calling that a blowout by any means. This thing was close the whole way through, right? They were down, tied at half, down 3, won by 7. Look at that fourth quarter between these offenses. 38 points scored. All right, so in this one, did he get fouls? Did he not play for a specific reason? Did Nick Richards keep him from getting boards? Not likely, because I have not very much respect for Nick Richards as an NBA player. 22 minutes because of fouls. 3 fouls, just 22 minutes. Guess we wanted to go with a little bit more Oscar Thompson in this one. Mike Muscala stole some minutes from him. What are you doing, Monty? Beef Stew was getting in so much time in there. He's around, but whatever. So honestly, let's just see. Did he have rebound chances in that game? He only played 22 minutes. That's a big problem. The 30 minutes that we see here, I'm having a hard time projecting his minutes, to be honest with you guys. Like the minutes is what I look at and try to project more than anything, because if he's not on the floor, he can't get the stats. But 17 rebound chances for 13 boards doesn't make me feel great, y'all, to be honest. Just to finish that Jaylen Duren point, for him to need 13 to get 13 boards, like that's a little bit scary. And you can see over the course of his last 10, well, how many minutes has he been playing in those last 10? So he's averaging 28. I don't like that, right? I need him to get the 30 plus for me to feel a little bit better about him getting the rebound chances. That's a big reason for all that. So I'm not loving that. Let me change this music again. We can listen to the same damn thing. Let me get back to that. Yeah, I'm not loving that. So I'm that's a stay away from me right now. If you wanted to, this is where I'm like, well, what about if we add the points? Is he getting the field goal attempts, right? Like before I even look at the points, 7.7 attempts, and he needs 13.5 points, bro. I'm like way more likely to go under right now for like a Jaylen Duren PR combo before anything. I mean, look at all these recent numbers as well, right? And yeah, the Dallas game, I believe, is where he got ejected, right? So that's why he had the 14 there. And how many minutes he played against Dallas? Yeah, he only had 16 minutes against Dallas. You can say there's like this, like, I'm pissed off, I'm going to come back and get mine kind of narrative, but I'm not using that. I stick to numbers way more than anything. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stay away from that just to answer the Jaylen Duren so far. Let's see what else we got in here. What up, Guy? Got Ev from Guy Boston Sports in there. Appreciate you, bro. The Encore Production asked, can we break these stats per quarter on that app? Which app are you talking about, Encore Production? Let me know what you're talking about, and I'll get back to you. Oh, was Bagley still there for the Pistons is what Dave is asking. It's a good point. Who was on the floor? Let me see about that. Not positive, to be honest with you. Getting some stuff from my sharp friends that I'm not allowed to share on air. So why are you fucking texting me? All right, let's close this out with one more thing that I'm looking at. But yeah, let me know what you're talking about there with the stats by quarter. Derek Duncan asked me which site is that. Let me know which site you're talking about. I've been flying through a couple of them. Kobe worries you Encore Production. He has missed 4 out of 5 at home on his PA. Yeah, I agree. Like with Kobe tonight with the assists, that's something I'm adding a little bit less, to be honest. But Dave likes over for his PA. That's interesting. How much do you weigh on? Oh, J-Neck, like a good amount, right? Like great example was yesterday in terms of he asked me, how much do you weigh in potential blowouts? A ton, like a ton. So for instance, last night we had, what's their names? We had the Thunder playing against the Memphis Grizzlies. What's the Memphis G League team? It's the Memphis G League squad because they were missing everybody. I don't know if Vince Will. I think Vince Will might have played in that game, but we also got we didn't have Luke Kennard. Is there one of their best players? Like there was a bunch of dudes missing for them, so there was no way I was taking SGA points last night. There was some dudes who were on over 29.5 points for SGA. That game was over by the second quarter. So that was a clear situation where it's like, nah, I'm staying away from all those overs because of the fact that, like, I don't feel good about this game staying close enough for him to stay in the game. So the stat sheet in average. Oh, yeah. So if you're going, I think you're talking about right here, right? Like if you're going into, if you want to look at player tracking, you want to look at data, you want to look at player tracking for rebounding, you want to look at it for anything, you can absolutely do it by quarter, right? So we go into, where is it at? Wait, can I? Did I just speak too soon? I can't do quarters for player tracking. Great question, bro. That sucks. I haven't even been looking at quarters, to be honest with you. And I think that's valuable at times too, when you're talking about like, is a guy going to be in there at the end and all that. So for player tracking, it doesn't look like we have time of the game. Yeah, you cannot look at that by all of them. So that is a bummer. Yeah, Encore Production, you win fucking commenter of the show for sure. for throwing that out there because that's annoying as hell. All right, that's fine. Let me get to one more thing. We got a Miles Bridges question from my guy Nuke in here. I'm thinking over on rebounds from Miles Bridges. Let's take a look at that one together. Mr. Bridges, don't condone his behavior off the floor, but we're talking about hoop right now. All right, rebounds for Miles, we're at 8.5. That's a lot of green, bro. That's a good start. But also, quick disclaimer, let me show y'all what I mean when I say who the recent numbers. My guy Blaze Betts always says this, and he's definitely, without even trying, he's become a mentor of mine by all the stuff that he puts out there. He's my like I love the like crusty, curmudgeonly, grumpy sounding old, like, get off my lawn guys, because they have some pretty good stuff and a lot of experience, and Blaze is right up there. And I say that with all due respect, because the shit he says is correct. And he says recent numbers almost never matter. Like, at the very least, I don't know if I'm going to say almost never, but I'm going to say for sure they matter way less than some of us give them credit for. You look at a site like DraftKings, right? And I'm pretty sure, yeah, you can go to stats on DraftKings and be like, oh, wow, this is great. Like, maybe you read a sportsbook review and it was like, yo, DraftKings is the shit because they give you recent numbers. Yeah, they give you recent numbers that they want you to have, man. And so if you're talking about player prop numbers, they'll show you things like recent like numbers for players, right? And it'll be like green. Prize Picks does this way more than DraftKings. That's what I was trying to get at. Prize Picks way more than DraftKings will be like, yo, look at all the recent stats, right? All this green is great, but the books know that. And that's the main point I'm trying to make and made really shitty is like, the books know that you look at recent stats. And so if they see a lot of green, they're going to make that that prop a little bit higher than you want it to be. With Miles, kind of feels that way. 8.5 is kind of good. The other thing I want to know is what has his recent prop numbers been? And I haven't found quite as many quality. Let me show you one more that's in the one more tool here that's in the description of all these videos, which is like, yo, what has the recent numbers been set by the books? You see what I'm saying? So I want to know, let me look for Miles real quick. They don't have numbers for rarely will these sites like Betting Pros, I also use Covers. Rarely will they have recent lines that the books were giving us for bad players. But for guys like Miles, we can get some of these lines. Let me see if I can get it. All right. Yes, look, you see what I'm saying right here? We got prop lines for Miles Bridges as of late. All right. So let's look at what his recent rebounding props have been. All right. So I'm gonna click on rebounds. This is a really helpful one, yo, because like what I want to know here, what I'm wondering when as soon as I see Miles 8.5 and I'm like, wait, like that's not necessarily too high, but I'm pretty sure because this is, you see the over at plus 112, right? Which means like this probably was 9.5, maybe got bet down, or vice versa, whatever. This was 7.5 and got bet up, right? Because once it gets bet up to over 8.5, now you're talking about you get a bit more juice than it was at 7.5, right? So I want to know, has the line for Miles Bridges rebounds been 8.5, or has it gone up a little bit because of all of these overs? Right? Look at all these overs. That's going to be why the book will then next game move his prop line up, because they know that those overs have been crushing. Got to change the song again. I cannot do this that many times in a row, bro. All right. This one's called Late Night Mission. I'll let you figure out what that means. Miles Bridges rebounds as of late. Look at this prop line. All right. Actually, it's been about 8.5, bro. So that's a good call. But I mean, look, when he plays a team like Milwaukee, it's a little bit lower. So this has been lower. Right. Yeah, this has been. Let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Utah's 10 games ago, right? 6.5. 6.5 against Utah. Don't they know? The books don't know? Utah's G League team now. 6.5, 14 that he got in that one, right? He's been crushing this number. So you see it goes up. This is what I can become weary of, is like 8.5 is a little bit high of a number for him, based on the fact they were setting this bitch at 6.5, 7.5, right? I'm so glad I can swear so much more in the live stream than I can on my recorded videos. But anyway, that's what makes me a little bit weary of it, right? So let's look into the matchup a little bit for Miles, because my boy asked me over here. But like, yeah, just one thing right off bat is like, don't just be seeing green and go like over because he did it recently, right? Not only is this misleading, it's also this number has gone up. You used to be able to get this for 6.5, 7.5 as recently as 2-3 weeks ago. Now we're talking about it at 8.5, and this is going to fluctuate again. As soon as he fails to get 9 a couple games in a row, we see that number drop a little bit, because the books want you to keep taking those overs, so they can't get you to take those overs if they keep it too high, right? Because they know you're looking at these recent numbers. If all we saw here was red over the course of the last bunch of games, my bad, I clicked on Cade by accident. If all we saw here for Miles was red over the course of these last 10 games, this would not be 8.5. This would be 6.5, 7.5. But let me jump into the matchup a little bit more for you, and then see what I like, if I do or don't like it. But just to be clear on that last Jaylen Duren bet, I'm off it, bro. Like I'm way more under PR for Jaylen Duren tonight than I am over, based on the fact that Charlotte's been a little bit better at limiting centers. Not great, but still better. Let's look at rebounds for Miles against. We're looking for Detroit. Where are we at? They're probably middle of the pack, right? Am I just not seeing Detroit? No, they're really good at it. Detroit 25th in limiting somebody like Miles Bridges is in terms of his rebounding type and his profile. Pretty good at that. I mean, let's take a quick look at this one, which is small forwards. That's what we're considering Miles. Yeah, because we got I guess we got Grant Williams playing power forward. But small forward over the last 7 rebounds. Not as good, Detroit. Where are you at? Middle of the pack. A little closer to bottom, a little closer to good than they are bad, right? We got them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They're dead center, like 7, 18th. So they're not great at limiting the rebounds to his position, but I'm much more, like I said, relying on courtside Pal than I am on that one. So I feel pretty good about that for courtside Pal. What's the one other thing I want to look at? Someone, I should just be like, shout it out in the comments, but knowing my computer, it'll take me half an hour to fucking get to it. So let's just go to the answer, which is player tracking. We already have it up. Pistons last 10 games. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm trying to go to Charlotte because we're looking at our guy, Miles, not my guy, but Miles Bridges. Rebound chances. He is at 13, 12.7. Don't love it. That's pretty high right there. You can see other dudes like Grant Williams. Maybe he's the one boxing people out. He's also got the vert of like he can get over a piece of plywood, and that's about it for Grant Williams. Plays a lot of his stuff on the floor, as we know if you ever watch dude play. So that makes sense that he would be able to box dudes out but not get the boards quite as much. Nick Richards, my God. So really what this tells me right here is like Nick Richards, center Nick Richards. I cannot imagine that dude is playing in the league next year. Nick Richards, 16.6 rebound chances available to him, 4 boards. A 46.4 contested rebound percentage is bad. Like you got to be getting more than that if you're a center, and everything's gonna be contested if you're a center. That's the whole point, is that you're boxing dudes out and getting the boards, and it ain't happening for him. Yeah, I mean 50% is not bad, but like for Grant Williams, that's hilarious. 5.3 boards on 13. Like Nick Richards is about what you would expect. I'm sorry for trashing him so hard, but that is about what you would expect. Is about a little bit better than 50% for him in terms of rebound chances and rebounds. Just not all of them are contested because it's kind of soft. But Miles, that's high, bro. 9.2 on 13 rebound chances is high. I don't care who you are. Your rebound chance percentage, as you can see here, 73% is way high, bro. Way, way, way high. So I just want to prove that. Let me just X out of Charlotte for a minute and show you what I mean. Like, let's see some of the best rebounders in the game. Who's got the most rebounds over the last 10? Rudy Gobert, unsurprisingly. What's his rebound chance percentage? 55%, right? That's what I'm saying. 60%, 65%. Like, these are the best rebounders in the league. And you're telling me that Miles has been getting 72% of his rebound chances? I get that it makes sense from the standpoint of, like, Grant is boxing people out and Nick Richards is boxing people out and then not getting the boards. But, you can't really rely on 75% of your boards, of your rebound chances turning into boards all the time, right? So I'm a little bit leery of that with Miles Bridges, especially with the way that Detroit has defended against his rebounding profile type, as we see here. Where did I say they're at? Yeah, 5th, right? Fifth best, right? 26 out of 30 is going to be 5th best. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the top. All right, so that's what we got from Miles. Not loving it. Yeah, and to encourage you, like what I'm saying. Oh, got Duren for 11.5. All right, good shit, Jillian, Fang. I hope I'm saying your name right, but that's good stuff. Yeah, do you take into account trends such as Bridges' stats? Like, yeah, I do. I want to know if he's capable of doing it. It's like anything else. Like, I got to see that you're capable of doing it before I just go ahead and feel like you can do it, right? I want to see it to believe it, but I also don't want to just say it has happened, therefore it will happen again. That's not how we roll, right? All right, we're coming up on an hour, but we got more people in here than we did earlier. So maybe we should just keep going with one more thing that I wanted to look at. What was the other prop that I wanted to look at here? Oh, yeah. I wanted to look at Jarrett Allen. This is what I wanted to look at. Now, why do I want to look at Jarrett Allen? first thing that got brought to me, by the way, use your friends. My guy Prop Bomb on Twitter, a lot of you probably know him. He's got a pretty big following. We're talking pretty consistently these days, almost every day, I would say, during the week. We're throwing props at each other. Yo, what do you think of this? He helped me out with Malik Beasley the other day. I was like, I'm pretty sure Malik Beasley's going to get his points over. Hit up Prop Bomb because I know he has like a Malik Beasley sensor somehow. He's gotten Malik Beasley right so many times this season. He seems to find the right spots to hit him to get points. Point being, that helped me out a lot. This is the same thing for today. I happen to know that he is going to be on some Nurk stuff. Wow, Nurk's at 10.5 boards. That's an over for me, fam, for a good reason. Yeah, that's an over for sure. So one thing I want to look at here, the reason I was looking at Jarrett Allen is I bet on him a little bit earlier in the season based on the fact that he was coming on no rest. And we know, let me show you one more thing here. And I've told you guys about this one before. Advanced, this is #basketball.com. It's not a bad name. It's kind of cringy, but not a bad name. But either way, advanced NBA schedule grid. This is also in the description of the videos. This is super helpful because it shows you who's on these back-to-backs. That's really what I use it for more than anything. So show teams playing on, I got to go back here. This is annoying. That's going to be a little confusing. But okay, so if you see here, this is last week. So this is Sunday yesterday, and this is Monday today. All right. So we know the Cavs are the only team on a back-to-back because I highlighted these 2 days so I can see who's playing on both of those. All right, so we know now the Cavs are the only team on that back-to-back. I happen to know, and look, this is a part of it. I do this every single day of my life, so I'm going to remember what I did 3 weeks ago in this job as much as I am going to remember what I did last week or yesterday because this is how I make money. So Jarrett Allen, I happen to know, is bad on the back-to-backs. But let me just show you what I mean. I can go to StatMuse, another great opportunity for StatMuse here, which is kind of the GOAT these days in terms of just like raw. You're gonna make me sign in again. I don't think I need to, but it might tell me. StatMuse has gotten to a point where like you have limited searches unless you're signed in, and I pay for this now. Gotta have text right off somehow. But what I want to know is how does Jarrett Allen do? Jarrett Allen on no rest this season. This is gonna bring up all of his box scores from this season without rest. All right, let's go to this. All right, so. Wow, he crushed Atlanta the other day. Oh, that was his, 19 rebounds. That's wild. All right, so Atlanta's so bad right now, bro. Like, they need everybody back. They are a train wreck. But let's see here. You know what? Let me get his, I can't get right stats. Yeah, so give me the final stats. Let me change this music up again. By the way, if you have music that you make, because some people hit me up like that, and you want to throw it on here, like, let's talk. I'm always down to take some music and use it in these videos. Jarrett Allen on no. Give me the stats, bro. Really? You make me do this myself? Ugh, annoying. Either way, he's actually gotten better as of late. So maybe 3 weeks ago was the final time I could fade him on no rest because these are pretty good numbers, dog. And Evan Mobley's out once again. It's a lot of boards though. I think the rebounds is what I'm looking at here. Like on no rest, he's only gotten the boards that he needs tonight once. So that's a good starting point for me. You see what I'm saying? Let me look at a few more things. So we're going to look at the Suns real quick on Courtside Pal. You can tell that's always the first spot for me. Jay Allen. I love this B3 Kings for anybody who got it. By the way, throw any more questions in the comments if you have them. If you have questions about specific players, I'm happy to go through whatever you guys got and we'll look it up. But all right, Jay Al in rebounds. I love this dude, honestly. Like I love his like character. I love who he is as a player. Also love to fade him at times. But he's been fucking Hakeem Olajuwon at times this season, so I can't talk too much shit. We're talking about the Suns that he's playing, right? By the way, what is that? What is that game at? That was the most mispriced bullshit I've ever seen. It opened at -1.5 for the fucking Cavaliers. Come on, DraftKings, work with me, bro. Let's go to the Action app and just look at what the most up-to-date shit is. Suns cat. This was, look at this. And this is why Action Network is also super helpful. I'm not supposed to promote them too much, but this is the most helpful way to look at this, is the Suns opened at +1.5. Donnie Mitchell was never going to fucking play in this game. Neither was a bunch of the other dudes that are out for them. As we know, Evan Mobley and everybody else. Like, this was a crazy opening line. Hopefully you hit this. I had this last night. I couldn't get a video out to y'all. I had too much other stuff going on, but I will say, like, this was a mixed slam for sure before this thing just turned on us. But either way, all right, cool. Let's see here. The 6, that's crazy. I still think 6.5 is probably okay. I'd rather have this under 5.5 if you want to take the Suns. The one bet I did place last night was under 112.5 for the team total for this team. What's the total? I think the total dropped a little bit in this one too. I gotta go to all markets here. Now you can see the total. Yeah, it opened at 226. So I'm probably not gonna get the same value, but I took a under 112.5 for the Cavs team total last night, which was beautiful at -110. If you get anything around like 110 to 115.5 under for them, I would take it. 110.5 is a little scary, but anyway. All right, Jay Allen. Looking at him against the Suns, I like the fact that we don't see Phoenix anywhere. It means Phoenix is good. It means Phoenix is really good. In fact, they're the best at limiting Jared Allen's player profile, rebounding. Let's go. I love when the things that you think are validated in the numbers, right? That makes a lot of sense to me. That dude wouldn't be able to get those numbers. If you look at his prop line, let's look at what it's been as of late for Jared Allen. I hope you got something out of this one, because this site is super helpful. You not only want to know what the dude has been doing in his numbers lately, you want to know what the book has been pricing him at. Did the price go up? Yesterday's price is not today's price. It never is. So you got to see what yesterday's price was to be able to compare it to today's price. We got a point line of 17.5. That's always that's high, right? What is it today? 18.5. Out of here. Out of here. So we got points and rebounds at 31.5. This is one of my favorite fades. What's his assists might even be a little bit fadeable. Giving him 3 assists for the PRA here. Let's get the points and rebounds though, fam. Look at these crazy numbers when he went all Hakeem Olajuwon on the Minnesota Timberwolves the other day. That was bonkers, bro. I believe Rudy was in that game too. More importantly, let's look at his rebound prop as of late, because it's at 12.5 right now. Did that go up and make us feel really good? Like, the books are just keep pricing. Nah, this is where it's at, right? And so they priced it at 12.5. He smacked it against these last 2 teams. So look, he's on a heater. Kid's on a heater, and when someone's on a heater, I'm fading before I'm riding with, right? Like, because I know that every noob and their mom is going to be like, oh my God, look at all that greed, as I've said now a couple times. That's where I start to go, all right, well, let's fade, dude, right? But Jay Allen rebounds is at 12.5. We know that the Suns are the best in the league at limiting him. Nurk is not hurt. They got their big 3 back out there. There's not going to be misses. Let's look at that. I want to look at that real quick, which is how good are the Suns at making shots when they have 3 of the best shot makers in the league on the court? KD, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker. And Devin Booker is coming back from injury. So that's what I want to know. So one more thing I want to show you that's really helpful is once I go to teams, I'm going to get into the Suns real quick, and I'm going to see how players do when they're on the floor together, right? And that's going to help me understand how many shots the Suns are making when they've got their best players on the floor, when they're on the floor together. So I have to go back to the Phoenix Suns here, and I have to go to lineups. And I'm going to get a 3-man lineup with to see how those 3 dudes are doing: Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. Come on. All right, so we got lineups here. I can go to 3-man. That way I can, and now instead of having to go through all these and look, let's first, you know what I messed up? I want to do this under advanced so I can get their effective field goal percentage. Effective field goal percentage, simple definition. Threes are harder to make than 2s. So when you miss a 3, it doesn't detract from your effective field goal percentage quite as much as when your 2-point misses happen, right? The 2-point misses are weighed heavier because you should make those more easily than you should make a 3 because it's further away from the basket. 5-player lineups, advanced. No, I want to go 3. And let's do this. Let's just do it for the season. It doesn't matter. Honestly, these dudes play together so freaking sporadically. Let's see who got the most minutes for these squads. Just can't get these dudes on the floor at the same time. God damn. Let's do let's filter it here. Yeah, let's line up. Let's do Durant. Let's do Booker. All right, here we go. When these dudes are on the floor together, they got a 124 offensive rating, and their effective field goal percentage is very freaking good, right? Not a surprise that these dudes are barely missing when they're on the floor together. So that's another reason there's not going to be quite as many rebounds for Jarrett Allen tonight. In fact, I can't believe I didn't put this bet down because I'm like going in on it right now. The rebounds are what I'm looking at for sure. Do I want to add the points in there? Let me look at scoring. So one thing to keep in mind here, like right now I have this on rebounds. So everything I do when I change the filter here is going to be based on rebounds. So someone of Jarrett Allen's height has gotten a lot of assists, rebounds rather, against Phoenix this season. Someone of his weight, though, has not. Someone of his mass also has not. And then someone of his shooting profile, some of his score, like that doesn't matter quite as much, right? Because it's about rebounds. So I don't care how good of a scorer he is or what type of scorer he is necessarily, or what type of playmaker he is. I care about his rebounding profile. And his rebounding profile says, ain't happening against this squad. What about points? How about the shots that he makes and takes? The shots that he takes, rather. Where did Phoenix go? Not that good, right? Score as far as like where he's scoring from on the floor, a little bit better, right? So shooting is where is he taking the shots from? Scoring is where is he making them from, right? Pretty simple. And Phoenix here is pretty good at limiting where he scores from in terms of points, but not quite as good as far as where he's shooting from in general. So what that tells me is like he is taking some baby hooks. I think to help prove my point here, one thing I want to look at is opponent field goals and shooting. So come with me on that journey for one sec, which is going back to NBA stats. And then I'm going to wrap this up for y'all, but I appreciate everybody being in here for real. Okay, wait, I do want to answer a couple more questions. We've got Karis Levert from Dave. He's asked me a couple times. My bad, Dave. I missed you. How about Levert? Let me look at him in one sec because I want to finish up my Jay Allen point. Where is Jarrett Allen taking his shots from, and where are the Suns stopping them from? Let's see real quick. So I'm going to go back to players. I'm going to go to player shooting because I want to find out where's Jarrett Allen shooting from, and I want to find out where's Phoenix stopping him from. All things that are in my model that make it really easy to look at without having to go and filter all this crap out. But let's take a quick look. So we're going to go to players shooting. And that brings up the ability to see where they're shooting from on the floor by zone. And we know it's going to be a lot for Jarrett Allen. We know where he's going to be shooting from a lot. But let's do over the last 10 games. You know what? Let's do, how long has Mobley been missing? Let's just do over the last 5 for right now. Where's Jarrett Allen shooting from? All right. Jarrett Allen is shooting his shots in the restricted area. Da-da! And he's shooting some of them in the paint non-restricted area. So obviously, if you know what that little circle is at the bottom under the basket, that's the restricted area. Everything else in the paint that's not in that little half circle is the non-restricted area in the paint. Wow, Darius Garland, all those floaters. Look at that over the last 5. A lot of floaters without Donnie Mitchell in there. That makes total sense. So Donnie Mitchell's missed. Yeah, he's missed at least the last 5. And that's the only place that he's shooting from. There's no Jarrett Allen shot. He's had 2 shots from the mid-range. He's taking a couple of those free throw line shots as well. So now I want to see real quick, how does Phoenix do against that type of shot? So let me go back to stats. See how annoying this is without the model? That's why I'm pulling through all these stats for players and stuff. But all right, players shooting. No, my bad. Teams traditional. Now we're going to teams and we're going to opponent shooting. This is like why I have this in a model, is so I can just literally plug in Jarrett Allen on one column, and I can plug in the defense for this Phoenix Suns team on the other one. Remember, I want to go to by zone. I want to know where on the floor they're shooting from, not just how far they are from the basket. All right, restricted area. What do we do? What are we doing here for the Suns? We want to do the season. Let's just do the last 10 for right now. Still like enough of a sample size, and the Suns have been playing decent comp, I'm pretty sure. All right, restricted area. How they doing? Oh, can't listen to the song again. My bad, bro. And then I'm gonna get to Chris Paul, and Then I'm going to get to Levert. Then I'm going to get to Chris Paul, and I'm out. Swear to God. Brand. This is a funk. Let's play some of the funk. All right. Restricted area over the last 10. Field goal attempts. So the frequency with which they're getting shots against them in the... Oh, a lot of them. Woo. Suns are third most field goal attempts against them in the restricted area the last 10. And you can see they're actually defending them really well. I can already tell you this field goal percentage is good, right? Because they're not even in the... They're the third most attempts, and they're... let's see what the field goal percentage is. Pretty good. Really good field goal percentage against them. Wow, best in the league. Let's go. What are we talking about? Best defensive field goal percentage in the league for the Phoenix Suns inside the restricted area, where we already showed you that Jarrett Allen is taking all of his shots, unsurprisingly, because he's a freaking center that doesn't have much touch. Although he's decent free throw shooter for his size. As far as the like non-restricted area shots, so like mostly we're talking about floaters when we get into the non-RA in the paint shots. That's Darius Garland's little floater. Not very many shots going up because teams are trying to go all the way to the rim against him. So they're not making very many, which is why they also have a really good defensive field goal percentage inside that area. So not good for Jay Allen in terms of where he's been taking his shots from and how good the field goal percentage is for this squad around the rim. And you got to give Nurk a bunch of credit for that. So yeah, I'm going to go with some Jarrett Allen under here. Quick look at Caris LeVert before I also do Chris Paul, and I'm out. Chris Paul scares me, I'm not going to lie. That team plays slow as dog shit when Steph is not in there, and Chris Paul is a main reason for that. But let's look at Caris real quick. Did not mean to ignore you, Dave. Dave will not be ignored. Got to get cheers. All right. Come on, work for me. So what are we looking at here? I already forgot. Caris LeVert. What did you want to know about, Dave? Caris LeVert. What do you want to know, though? Do you want points? We probably just want points, right? There's no way that you want... let's just look at Caris LeVert points. I do not know what else you would take with that man, right? All right, Caris LeVert points. We're on courtside pal. We got him up here. He is playing against the Phoenix Suns. As far as his shots, where he's shooting from, they're not good at limiting him in points, but they're not bad at limiting him in scoring. 19th. So that's one thing. What's his usage been? What's going on with that, right? Like with a dude who's not guaranteed to just soak up a ton of usage, like Caris LeVert, although he's getting more, right? So I do want to know now what's his stuff without Donnie Mitchell in there. But look, Donnie Mitchell ain't been playing, and dude ain't been scoring. So what's the deal? 28 minutes here. They got beat by Brooklyn. Can't believe he didn't get minutes versus Brooklyn. That's like a revenge narrative for him. Did he have fouls is the question. Let's go down to personal fouls. I know they're in here. You got fouls. Don't make me leave. That's the good thing about, yeah, it didn't even get any fouls. So why wasn't he playing against Brooklyn? He just was playing like crap, I guess. Well, yeah, how many shots did he take against Brooklyn? Took 6 of them. That's not very much, bro. And he made 2 of them. I mean, yeah, you don't want him to just be shooting 30%, but like, I don't know. Hard for me to understand Bickerstaff's rotation there. Who was getting minutes then for this squad? Like, it wasn't him. Maybe he just had a bad game. I don't know what to do with that. But you expect that to be out of the norm. Like, let's see. Without Donnie Mitchell, what's his numbers like? Let's just go to stat views. I don't need to mess with this. By the way, we're going under Jarrett Allen, 31.5 points and rebounds. I hope y'all follow me on that one. I feel good about that. Let's see. We got, well, I feel pretty good. Dude went out of his league the last 2 games. He could do it again, but I gotta go. The numbers say under, so I gotta go under. What are we looking at? We're seeing Caris LeVert with and without Dono and Mitchell this season. All right, I'm gonna get some new jams on here tomorrow. I'm already running out of shit. Does get a couple more minutes. He gets a couple more shots, like 1.5 more. Gets 1.5 a point more. Still doesn't seem to get there. What's his? Let's see what his game log is without Donnie this season. So this is another great spot right here. We know Donnie's out. We're gonna go to injuries. We're gonna go Donovan Mitchell. So what's he without Donovan Mitchell? This is why I pay for Props.cash, bro, is because I can get most of what I need on one spot, and it just makes things faster to have these charts up as well. But let's see. In the last 10, under an 8 of 10 without Donnie. On the season, only gone over this number 3 of, so it doesn't really matter, man. And it's like the minutes here is what you see that doesn't really trend upward for you. Yeah, I don't love points in this game, right? Like I really don't. I want to show you something that well, I'm not going to bring it up now. I was going to bring my model and just screenshot it for you, so I can at least give you that. But I'm not even going to go there with it. Yeah, fam. Like, not a huge fan of that with Karras tonight. Yeah, I got to be honest. Those numbers don't bode well. Where he's scoring from, yeah, where he's actually making his shots from. And is he getting to the free throw line? Not really. Let me look at free throw attempts real quick. Yeah, 3.5 attempts. I'm pretty sure that the Suns are good at limiting free throws. I just want to see real quick. Let's go back to opponent. I can't wait for my computer to be working again, so I don't have to do this bullshit that takes forever. That's not that bad. Opponent free throw attempts. Yeah, Suns are 7th best at limiting free throws, so there's not much going to be there for him in that regard. I don't love it, Dave. I don't love Karras tonight, unless you wanted to take an under. RA. Wow, I wasn't even looking at the right things, Dave. All right, let's look at rebounds real quick before I move on. Rebounds for Karras against Phoenix. 16 assists. We're looking at not giving up a ton of assists there for Phoenix. I'm pretty sure they're good at limiting that as well. Let's look at their overall limiting of assists. Where are they at? 10th best, right? So they've been really good on D as of late. Let me go to the last 10. I know in the last 10 they've got like a top 7 defensive rating. So I got 10 games here. Opponent assists for Phoenix, even better. They've been 7th best. So not a lot going there. That's why this game got bet down, right? I'll go back to that for you as well. It was at 226.5. Now it's at 220 in most places. You can get a 221 there on Caesars, but 226.5 is still a good under for that team for good reason between these two squads. So I dig that. I don't love points for anybody on Cleveland for real, if we're being completely honest, but the rebounds and assists for him are at 11.5. Come on, Dave. Look at that without Donnie. Still not good, right? Let's just see in general over the last 10. A little bit better. Donnie started missing games right around Dallas, I believe. So still not anything that makes you go like, I love that for Caris LeVert, to be honest. Let's look real quick at the let's go back to tracking for this Cavs squad and see who's been diming up over the last 5 games or so. Because that's when Donnie started missing time. When you have somebody like Donnie missing, it's so impactful. You have to take that into consideration. Cleveland, potential assists. Oh, look at that, Dave. Look at that. What about the assists alone? Why do you need the rebounds in there? What's he been doing with the assists? 6.5. Woo! That is high for Caris LeVert. That is much too high for Caris LeVert. That's an under and a half. What the hell? We're only getting an assist prop from him on FanDuel right now. You gotta be kidding me. And they want minus 148 for the under. Yeah, because this is an under. Big time. That's too many. Am I correct? 11 with, once again, what do we got here? 6.8. Math isn't my forte, bro. So let me just do 6.8 divided by 11.3. Talking about a 59% rate. You know I don't like that. You know it's not good for me to take an. That's for me. That's me going under, right? Before I do that. Yeah. I don't know. I feel you. It's all good. I'm not there with I'm leaning in the under with LeVert on that one. I told someone I get Chris Paul in there. What's up, Nigel? I had for DeRozan, you want PA. I like the assist for DeRozan. 24.5 points was really high though. We went over this earlier, but welcome if you're just coming in. Wrong game here. We got Dallas versus Chicago, and like that's high, fam, for the points for DeRozan. That's my only hesitancy. I love taking him at like 22.5. I like the right spots for him. What do we decide with him as far as the points go? Because the assists I love, bro. If you want to just talk about assists, Nigel, talking to you real quick about the assists for DeMar. Like, I do like that. But yeah, the points scare me. Let me get DeMar's points up here on Courtside Pal. Quick reminder to subscribe to the page. I haven't said that once because I've just been blacked out talking about sports for the last hour and a half and not even paying attention. But that is super helpful. It's kind of how I make my living. So if you could subscribe to the page, it's mad helpful. Like the stream too, just as helpful as well. So just got to put that out there. People are always like, yo, how can I support you, man? I'm like the video and like repost it or something. They're like, no, but like, really help you. I'm like, that's really helping me. That is how you help me. I know that sounds trivial and minuscule to you, but like that's how I get paid. So we're looking at points for DeMar. Have you guys seen that commercial with that old commercial with Drake where he's like, DeMar, he asked DeMar his name. And he's like, DeMar, I hear it. DeMar, I don't like it. Drake's actually a pretty good actor. I'm getting him credit for that. Shout out to Grassi. All right, let's see on his shooting. Who is he playing against? Dallas. Yeah, look at his scoring. Dallas is really good at limiting shooting or small forwards and getting dudes that score in the mid-range. That does seem to be a place that they're good at limiting things here. Let's look at their overall opponent shooting for Dallas. And let's do it over their last, let's go by zone. This is for you, Nigel, so I hope this helps. We're looking at why we don't like necessarily DeMar, I see it. DeMar, I don't like his points. I'm gonna keep making that joke. My bad. Let's see. We got Dallas's overall shooting. We're gonna do the last 10 because I care about this with the PJ Washingtons on the squad, not the Grant Williams off the squad. So mid-range stuff. That's what you gotta look at for DeMar. We know he's about to take mid-range, and so when we say like the type of scorer and the type of shooter that he is, we're talking about the mid-range, right? Dallas's defense versus the mid-range. Dallas, not about middle of the pack in terms of the amount of shots going up against them. Ooh, but they're giving up the third most. Is this a good find? They're the worst team field goal percentage-wise over the last 10 against the mid-range. Was that a good find, Nigel? It might be. If you like the DeRozan PA, I'm with it. I get that. I took him on the assist because I loved it at 4.5. It's gone up to 5.5. Yeah, DeMar not like this, Nigel. Yeah, DeMar, I don't like it either, but I would say the mid-range is there for him. I mean, you don't need to know it, right? Is that what it is, full court ball? Did I mess it up? Is it DeMar, I see it, the less I like it? That's actually hella funnier. I love that commercial. Whoever wrote that for Drake, that was really good writing. That shit was great. All right, but yeah, I think overall, if you add the points and the points to the assist, is that a better bet then than just the? Well, I mean, look, like the yeah, it's a lot of green, right? Yeah, throw it in there. I already got him at 4.5 assists, so I'm good on Mr. DeRozan. But like, I get it, bro. Like, if you like the over on PA, I'm with it. I still owe you PRA on Chris Paul, Chris Peterson. What if Chris Peterson was just Chris Paul's alter ego in here being like, what do you think about my PRA tonight? All right, let me look at Chris Paul real quick. And really, this is all about Steph not playing, right? That's the other thing, though, is like Steph is worth like a lot of points and a lot of pace, too, by the way. Just looking at my homies. Yeah, I think it's an under in that Chris Paul game. That's some confirmation I'm getting from a dude who is way better at playing sides and totals than I am. He is making a lot of money doing that because he bets a lot of money because he's really good at it. And he's going under 232 in that game here with the Warriors and Spurs. Oh, he's the reason it's 226.5, by the way. I'm telling you, when this dude bets, the lines move. So I trust him. It's already moved. He already got his money in, so I don't feel bad telling you about it. But yeah, this game has under way more on it. Like, let's just do it this way. StatMuse. Let me go to StatMuse because you know that's what I like, my with and without stuff. Let's do Warriors pace with and without Steph Curry this season. And then I gotta go in a minute. I'm starving. Yeah, they drop a almost full possession per game. Look at the points. 119 with him. And you want to know why Steph Curry makes $55 million in a year? 9 points a game that he's apparently worth. And it's a small sample size, but I've put him at least at like 6 points per game for that squad that he's worth. So I get that. Cool. What are we looking at here? Yeah. All right. No, for sure. Appreciate you, Nigel. A lot of pace for sure. So let's see. Chris Paul, that pace is gone. Let's do one more thing real quick. Let's look at his on-off numbers for this squad. Where's Golden State at? Where are you at, GSW? All right, we're going to go to Golden State's page. We're going to go to players. This is how you find somebody's on-off numbers. Let's just go advanced. Wait, no, I'm sorry. I should be going to on-off. My bad. On-off court. This is how we find out how they play with and without dudes on the floor, right? This is the game. When I go to StatMuse, by the way, this is very important. When I go to StatMuse, I go Warriors pace with and without Steph Curry. I'm not talking about when Steph Curry's off the floor. I'm talking about when he does not play in a game. Now, this could be skewed. Like if Steph Curry played in a game and then came out early, this would have him as with. When in reality, like if he leaves in the first quarter, right, like that game was played more without him than it was with him. So it's not perfect, but it's close enough. And I don't know that Steph left any of these games early, so we're good with that. But more importantly, I'm looking at pace with Chris Paul actually on off the floor, right? So let's go over here on court pace. And these dudes at the top don't matter because they don't see minutes. When Draymond is on there and Gary Payton Jr., they have big impacts on that, but Draymond a lot more because he played a lot more minutes. Curry, Kuminga, those dudes play real fast on the floor, right? Now let's go down till we find Chris Paul, and unsurprisingly, he is wildly slow, and that is still a fast pace, by the way. But when Chris Paul's off the court, right, we're talking about this game going much, much slower. Off court, he's faster. It's way faster. On court, it's way slower with Chris Paul. That's just going to be the case in general. And as we know, he's now the starting point guard, and that's what he did last game against the Spurs team when they got beat up. He was the starting point guard and got the majority of those point guard minutes. So all stats for this game in general, I lean under. There's not going to be quite as many possessions to go around here with the Spurs and the Dubs as there would be if it was a barn burner because Steph was on the court, right? So I'm looking at Chris Paul's points to start with against San Antonio. I don't care about this as much. That's a thing. San Antonio is going to be dog doo-doo no matter what we say, wherever they are in terms of like limiting dudes and limiting other teams. Like it's not as reliable. Let's look at playmaker though for him. Yeah, so as a playmaker, like ninth in terms of giving, you can get the ninth most assists against this squad. Like I get it. Are the Dubs winning tonight, Dan? Bro, your guess is as good as mine. They are ass cheeks without Steph Curry in there this season. It's bonkers. So I don't know. That one's. I hate these like back-to-back games with people playing at the same time. If you want to look at his PRA, let me just see what the number is real quick, and then I do got a dip. The PRA for CP3 is at 23.5. Look at that. Let's do without Steph Curry this season real quick. I think it's what we say 4 games in 2023, 3 games that he's played. Okay, so he went over in 2 of them. Barely went under. Okay. Let me not shit all over that, Chris Peterson, if you're still around. I dig what you're saying, bro. Like, if you still wanted to go with that, and MB8, I owe you a Jeremy Grant points, and then I'm out. So no more questions. Otherwise, I can't answer. Sorry. But yeah, we got and peace to Dave who dipped out. Appreciate him always. What was I finishing with here? Chris Paul. Yeah, that's not an under to me necessarily. You wanted to know about his PRA in general, though, and 23.5. Best number you can get still is minus 120. So some people probably bet on that over, right? Which makes sense, to be honest with you. Playmaker assists, we're at 9th. Scoring, he's second. Oh, no, that's assists. Scoring 7th. Shooting 16th. I don't hate it. Rebounds for this type of dude. Doesn't really matter because he's going to have to get stuff far away from the basket. Let me look at one thing real quick. Let's go to players. Let's go to tracking and passing and just do last game. Because how many games did Steph miss now? Shit, let me see. Steph Curry game log. What did he miss? He missed. Today is the 11th. My man just missed the 8th, right? They played the 8th and 9th? Played on the 7th in the Warriors game log. Lua Munson stats with the Warriors was a search. That's hilarious. All right, he missed one game. Yeah, so let's do one game. Lua Munson, what did I just see? That was hilarious. Who is searching this, bro? That is hysterical. Do y'all remember who he is? The long-haired dude who's like... Anyway, let's move on. What? Who is searching for that? I can't stop laughing at that. That's ridiculous. Who the hell cares? Good on you, though, if you do. Let's go to the Dubs and see... Let's see how Chris Paul's passing was last game. What do you mean? Come on. Did I mess this up? Last game, Dubs. Oh, they didn't give me tracking. See, this is what I mean. I can't get tracking now for the Dubs in that last game because somebody was like, Steph Curry's not playing in this game. Who the hell cares? Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, because I didn't put it last game yet. I'm not going to get it. Yeah, no data available. So this is what happens when you don't have tracking on a game is you can't get how he did last game in terms of potential assists, right? His numbers for last game in general, I think he got the assist last game, actually. Yeah, he had 9 assists, 4 boards. The points are a bit high at 10.5. So he went under a little bit because of the combo there. The 4 boards is pretty good. What's his rebound prop today? 4.5. That's bullshit, dude. That's high. Maybe you take the PA, man. Honestly, if you're gonna take him, screw it. Just take the PA. It's gonna need like 11 and 9. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's too rich for my blood. I'm gonna be honest with you. He needs the 9 assists here, but you get plus money on that. I guess I would lean there for the plus money, but this ain't worth it to me either way. So if you're still around, Chris, my bad. It is good call there, by the way, by Full Court Ball. I think his recent chemistry with Trace Jackson Davis is good. A couple assists more that could be coming his way. That's a good point. Like, he has looked really good with TJD. He's looked really good with Kuminga as well, who came on strong at the end there. Is he at 22.5 points? No, he's still at 21.5. That's what it was last game. I will say the Spurs are somehow a little bit better against power forwards than most other positions, but all right, I owe my man, if he's still around, I owe him Jeremy Grant. He's at least got me intrigued by Jeremy Grant. So let's take a look at him in that matchup there where they're probably going to lose again to Boston, even though Boston's not – well, that's a problem. Boston's not playing anybody. That's actually might be not even the problem. That might be the solution because what's this game at? If this game's still at like 217 – 217, and I think that's an over. Let's look at that injury report again. In fact, let me refresh this injury report right here. So I've been on this stream for like 10 hours. So yeah, we have like 2 updated injury reports since I've been on it. Let's look real quick. Yeah, I got to get out of here, bro. We got some games to look at for tomorrow already. That's how late in the day we are. What am I looking at here? We're looking at injury report for the Boston Celtics. Okay, Jaylen Brown is playing. Drew's out. Svi Mikhailiuk is out. That's huge. Just kidding. But I love saying Svi Mikhailiuk. Kristaps is out. Jay Tatum's okay. So dudes are playing. All right. That's different. I thought like we were going to be seeing Delano Blanton and people like that. A lot of Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser for the Celtics when they're in there. I'm definitely going overs, but they're not in there. So Jeremy Grant, fuck yeah. It's a little bit less of a let's get it kind of situation. If you wanted to take Jay Grant, that's not someone I'm going to be looking at here. How many games has he been playing? Yeah, he's missed time recently as well. So it's like he's coming back. I don't love betting on that Portland Trailblazers team. That's all the time I have, y'all. We got to roll. So let's call it there. Appreciate everybody. This has been a good time, getting some good turnout. So like, let's do it again tomorrow. Let's just go ahead and keep doing these live streams. Let's get them going at 3 p.m. Eastern and 12 p.m. on the West Coast out here. I'm going to do that in lieu of the videos that I be putting. We'll see. I might be putting out, I'm going to put out videos late at night, the night before. So like tonight, I'm going to be doing a video for tomorrow. That's going to be recorded and we'll be looking at what we have for tomorrow and get into that. Quick reminder to subscribe again. Appreciate all, but we got 500 people in here for the first ever live stream on the channel, man. So like feeling pretty good about what we do here and how I'm hoping to keep showing you guys what I do rather than just like, here's the picks. Like, let's get into it. Like that's why I do this. This is fun for me to go over stats and talk about bullshit like this with you guys. So appreciate all of y'all. And until I see you next, happy betting tonight.